Welcome back, marketers. So you want to know, what is organic marketing and why is it awesome for your biz? Chances are you're here because you've either dropped a lot of money and didn't get a positive ROI on a paid marketing campaign, or you've heard this horror stories from other people and you want to know a little bit more about organic marketing and is it actually a feasible way to scale your business?
Okay.
The good news is, yes, I love organic marketing.
That's it?
That's it.
And when I look over the history of my business, my organic marketing has always outperformed my paid marketing. So I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm Amy Walker, small business strategist. In today's video, we're going to talk about what's the difference between organic and paid. We're going to cover why organic is so good for small business owners. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to actually walk you through the process for how you put together your organic marketing strategy that will actually scale with your business, because some organic strategies are just not scalable. So I'm going to show you how to bridge that gap between free low-cost leads and volume.
So now there's me and you.
I'm also going to tell you a fully organic strategy that I used in my business that generated over $100,000 in sales and did not cost me a penny in ad spend. So make sure you stay for that one as well. Let's talk about the actual definition of organic versus paid marketing. This one's really easy. It's, did I pay for it or was it free? But that's not the way that most people use the definition of organic versus paid. Most people call organic anything that is not digital marketing, and then anything that is digital marketing, they would consider paid advertising. So the most common definition for what is organic versus paid is anything that is digital marketing, like paid ads, and then organic is everything else. That's what you're going to hear talked about the most in marketing circles, and that's the definition that we're going to go with today. So now let's talk about why advertising is so expensive. We have a marketing triopoly. So between Amazon, between Facebook, and between Google, that's 60% of all advertising is spent in those places. That means they have a lot of cost control and a lot of people are competing in the same spots, which is driving up the cost. In Q3 of last year, Facebook ads actually went up 47% in the CPM. Now, if you don't know what CPM, that's the cost per 1,000 views that hit your page. So the cost is going up and it's going up consistently. Every single quarter it goes up. And when you read the articles on this, they make it sound like it's this great thing, like, yeah, businesses spent 23% more on ads this year. And I look at that, I'm like, yeah, because the cost went up so much. Of course we had to spend more in order to still get what we want to get.
Are you willing to do all that?
So what we're trying to do with our organic is we're trying to offset those costs. If the cost per lead is going to continue to go up, then we're going to have to either increase our budget dramatically, or we're going to have to get more leads through free or low-cost organic channels. Now, if you're wondering, okay, but is this really going to work? I can't imagine free leads working. I'm going to share with you at the end a strategy that I used that was completely free and generated over 6 figures in sales. So make sure you stick with me because I promise this can work for you. So let's talk about the benefits for organic marketing, and then I can tell you the con, because there is a con with organic marketing. Number one, you have cost control. So you are in charge of how much you spend. You're not going to get those surprise bills where all of a sudden you thought that you were going to get 100 leads, they were going to cost you $50 each, and then you get back a bill where you spent $4,000 and you got back 35 leads. You won't have that surprise because you'll understand the costs up front and you can make decisions accordingly.
Amen.
Number two, you have ultimate control over lead flow. When you're working with ad platforms, there's the algorithm that really controls your lead flow. And you are not in control of that algorithm. You're doing your best to figure it out and work within it. But in organic, you have total control. So if you see one thing underperforming, you can go and layer on another organic strategy into that month in order to bring in enough leads and always have the volume you need to hit your sales goal. The third thing that I love about organic is it's so much less volatile. There are trends. Like there are times when a strategy will be really hot and then it will cool a little bit, but it's not so volatile. It's like the fluctuations just kind of, they're little fluctuations. So you're going to be able to have more consistency, and who doesn't want that? Now the downside of organic, it's time consuming. That really is the downside. It does take a lot of time. So as I talk through organic marketing, what I want you to do is I want you to embrace the idea that your job as the business owner is to figure out what organic marketing strategy you want to use, and then to create the workflows for them. Then we're going to focus on getting you as soon as possible a virtual marketing assistant that is going to be based somewhere like the Philippines and is not going to cost you a lot. In fact, maybe I'll even share with you what I use to hire and how much I pay my team, because you will be amazed at how much you can get done for a very inexpensive rate.
Best pitch ever.
So if you like saving money and getting help, please like the video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you can get notified every time we release new content. So how do you build an organic marketing plan? The first thing you've got to do is diversify your leads. So a lot of times when people talk about organic marketing, what they're talking about is going onto a social media platform, finding who your ideal client is, and messaging them through the messenger. So people do it on LinkedIn, they do it on Instagram, they do it on Facebook. It is not scalable. Like, there's only a certain amount of engagements that you can do every week before your account either gets shadow banned, or you get blocked, or you get put into jail, or they kick you off the platform completely. It's not a scalable plan. You can't get unlimited amounts of leads.
Wow.
There's other marketing organic campaigns that are similar. Like, for example, I love online events. Well, in an online event, there's only so many that I can do because energy-wise, it takes a lot of energy, and production-wise, it's a lot of work. So we can't have so that one maxes out as well based on time that it takes. And here's the deal with organic strategies. They almost all max out at some point. So you're not going to get it all through one organic channel. That's the most important thing to understand. We have to diversify. Now, what I will tell you, because you're just watching the channel, is that you need 3 to 5 different lead generation strategies. If you were my client, what I would do with you is I would help you build out 7. The reason why I would do 7 is because you need 5 that are working. But in my experience, you're always going to have one that's kind of like just getting started and just getting going, and it will be good, but it's not yet. And then you're always going to have one that's kind of like tapering off that you're going, I'm not really pleased with how that's performing anymore. So I work with my clients on getting a 7-point plan in place, but you just got to get started. So if 7 overwhelms you and you don't have the level of support that we give, then start with 3, start with 5, start with something that's going to get consistent leads coming in. So how many leads do you actually need? That is the $1,000,000 question. And fortunately, it is a really clear-cut answer. Depending on your sales goal and some of your metrics in your business, there is a specific number of leads that you need to hit every single month in order to hit the sales goal. If you have the leads, you're guaranteed the sales goal. If you don't have the leads, it's a crapshoot. So here's the formula. You take the sales goal, and then you take the average amount that a new client spends with you, and then you figure out how many sales do I need. Then you're going to take your closing ratio, and based on your closing ratio, it's going to tell you how many sales calls you need to have. Then you look at your hold ratio. Based on your hold ratio, it's going to tell you how many you need to schedule. Then you look at your schedule ratio, and it tells you how many you need to actually talk to. And then you look at your ratio of how many you get a hold of, and that's going to tell you the actual number of leads. And if that mathematical formula made you want to poke your eyes out, good news, I actually have it built for you. You can go download the Ultimate Marketing Calendar, and I have the tool that's going to tell you what your numbers are. So it's going to be really simple for you. But also there's some training in there on how to build a scalable marketing strategy. So go get it right now, ultimatemarketingcalendar.com, and we'll put the link down below. So now we got to figure out, well, what should I be doing, Amy? Like, okay, I'm going to have 3 to 7 different lead gen strategies. What should I actually be doing? You want to create a balanced organic marketing plan. So there's a couple things we need to balance. One is quick conversions versus power builds. I consider a quick conversion anything where I can get a name, email, phone number, and I can convert them within 90 days. I consider a power build anything that I'm going to have to put a lot of time and energy in for a while before it starts producing. So power builds would be things like podcasts, although I do have a really sick strategy that I use to help people start making money from their podcasts in month 1. But for most people, their podcasts are like a long-term 2-3 years down the road is going to be awesome. YouTube is that way. Becoming a social media influencer is that way. Like, you're going to spend that time, but it's going to take a while to build the momentum.
Really?
Whereas quick conversions are things like, I'm going to sponsor a booth at an industry conference where all my ideal clients are. I'm going to get leads and I can follow up with them right after. Or I'm going to do a speaking gig, or I'm going to do a webinar or an online event or a 7-day challenge, or I'm going to, if you're a local business, I'm going to go to the local football team and I'm going to have a local football game. I'm going to have a booth and I'm going to meet everyone in the community. So it's up to you to figure out what those look like, but you do want to have a balance between quick conversions and power builds. I like my clients to have, if they're doing 7, I like 5 to be quick conversions, and I like 2 at most to be power builds, because down the road, they're going to want those things in place that make business and client acquisition really easy. But in the beginning, they want sales consistently. The next thing that we're going to balance out is the budget. So we want to look at our free things that we're going to do, our low cost strategies, and then the places where it's a higher level investment. Out of 7, I would say 1 is probably going to be a higher level investment, maybe 2. And then you're going to have a couple that are like fairly low cost, and then you're going to maximize your free strategies. And that's what allows you to be able to create consistently high volume of leads on a very low budget. I'm going to be really honest with you. The thing that I spend the most on is my paid ads, and it actually generates the least amount of leads. I'm doing it because it's part of my overall strategy and it's part of us being able to scale. But if I was newer and I did not have a proven sales strategy, I would not be doing it. I don't run ads until I've proven the sales process. Because why would I want more people coming through, especially when I have to pay for them to come through, if I'm not guaranteed to pop out sales on the other end? You see what I'm saying?
Right. Very cool.
Great presentation.
Once we have these things in place, the next step is that we need to schedule throughout the year. Write this down, put it on a sticky note, stick it next to your laptop so you see it all the time. A gap in leads today is a gap in sales in 3 months. That is just the way that it goes. So if you want consistent sales, the very first thing you've got to do is you've got to create consistent lead flow. The second thing that you've got to do is you've got to consistently follow up with those leads. Those 2 things right there will create dramatic increases in your sales. Like huge, you guys. I have a client who came to me and she said, I have these really good months, like these 20, 30K months. And then I'll have like a 2K month where I'm wondering how I'm going to pay my virtual assistants. And I just want it to be consistent. So we focused on getting her lead flow consistent. And then we focused on getting her an appointment setter that could follow up with those leads. Even just with getting the lead flow consistent, she went up to consistent 30K months. And then that first month when we got her an appointment setter to follow up with the leads, she was going from 30 to 50K months. It makes a huge difference when you get these 2 things in place.
That is a cool idea.
So let's come back to this idea of we have to have consistent lead flow. The way that you make sure you have that is you plan out your marketing a year in advance. So you're not getting to, like it's April 1st and you're going, oh, what am I doing for marketing this month? That's too late. If you don't know what you're doing for marketing, you're going to be coming up with new ideas and implementing them. You're not actually going to be bringing in leads until the next month, and they're not actually going to convert until the month after. So I can look at my year in advance and I can make course corrections farther in advance. So if something marketing-wise flops in January, I know that's going to affect my sales a few months down the road, and I can make course corrections. So I can add in more lead generation in February in order to balance out so that I don't have the sales bottom out down the road. It allows you to be able to be in complete control, watch what's going on, know how things are flowing, never be surprised by like, oh my gosh, we have nothing planned for marketing this month. Oops, we don't want to go there.
And
So I promised you that I would share with you my strategy that I use that generated 6 figures and cost me literally nothing. Here was the strategy. You could use this, or you could come up with some other creative idea that would work just as well. I was interviewing my ideal clients for a book that I wanted to write. So I reached out through LinkedIn Messenger, which is free, and I let people know that I was writing this book. I let them know who I was looking to interview, and then I asked them who they knew that they could refer to me. And I got a lot of people that referred me to my ideal client, or they said, hey, that sounds like me. And so I interviewed them, and in the course of doing the interview, then I was able to establish relationships with my ideal clients, give them some feedback and ideas on how they could overcome the problems that they were having, and then simply ask the question, do you want to jump on a strategy call and we can talk more about this? And that generated 6 figures in sales. Now, here's the really cool part. I did pay out commission to the person who was doing all of the invites, because I didn't want to spend the time to be sending out all the messages. So I did have somebody who was doing those invites, and they got commission, but they got commission when people signed up to work with us. So it literally was a no money out the door strategy and generated 6 figures in sales. There are so many different things that you can do to create really profitable organic strategies. So now you know what is organic marketing and why you want it in your business. The next video that you're going to want to watch is marketing on a budget. What's the difference between digital marketing and social media? Go check it out.